Hello people, this is Power here with a review of the Kamen Saber DX Diago Speedy Wonder Ride book. So, anyways, obviously this is the primary bike of Kamen Saber. Obviously there's the Wonder Ride book, there's the bike itself, the RKF writing on it, the Wonder Ride book within the sword driver, and all the stuff you can do with it. So let's get this over with. So here we have the Wonder Ride book out, and this one is definitely interesting compared to previous Wonder Ride books. And I just realized I forgot to compare this within the demo, but Diago Speedy is definitely a different shape of a Wonder Ride book. Obviously because it's holding bike parts. But I like how it still actually tries to be a Wonder Ride book. Like here, obviously the cover page, Diago Speedy. It doesn't even have a designated slot, which is interesting. Get the Wonder Mark. This is the activation button. Nothing down here. So that's interesting. If we press it here, because this is where the sword driver pushes up to open this thing. So we have the story page right here. We don't have a QR code for this one, so you can't use this in Gamba Rising. And that's essentially it for the story page, because obviously there's no transformation page, because the story page is literally just, you know, the wheels essentially and such. So like I guess our transformation page will be the transformation of Diago Speedy itself. So you simply fold this over like so. Then you fold the lower section. Then you fold this cover off of this wheel. Then you push this down. You deal with the handles first. Then you push it down. And then here we go with Diago Speedy. It's kind of shaped similarly, I think, towards the Rise Hopper. I did compare them a while ago. They are the same size, especially because it's just a square and such. But I'm personally not too big on this bike. It's too general for me. It's not anything like special, and that's literally just rider in general with their bikes. They don't, just because they can't really use them, so it's like they don't even try with them. You can run the wheels because they're fine. It doesn't look like they roll up on camera. They do in person. They don't. They just look like they don't even move. Obviously, take your Saber RKF and then struggle to put them in a bike position. Obviously, Saber needs his Rekka, so obviously just move this away. Like, honestly, like, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if this is like, if this was an issue with the with the Rise Hopper, but I feel like with this one, he's just not supposed to be able to ride it at all, because all the poses, or like anything I try to get him in, is just unnatural. So like, this just doesn't look, this doesn't look right at all. Like, because if you look at from here, he's not even sitting on it. Like, I don't know if Saber can actually properly, like... Okay, I think I got him to sit properly, but... like, I feel like... Because you kind of have to put his foot here, or else he's not going to stay on the bike. So you're kind of stuck like this, because this part smartly actually acts as the footrest, so I think that's pretty cool. Other than that, like, you know, he fits pretty well. Obviously, he's the only one that uses Diago Speedy because everyone else is stuck with the Ride Gat Striker, which I'm not covering that thing because, you know, it's a standalone thing. But anyway, okay, he just decides to fall. That's essentially it for the bike itself. Obviously, we're gonna have to transform it back, and we're gonna go through the sounds. So, activation. And that's like the second activation sound. Essentially, the two just parallel, right? Go back to back to each other. So let's take a look at this on everything we have. Obviously, we're gonna first use it within the sword driver, and they advertise you using it with Brave Dragon, and I'm just going to do that for the sake of the review because what I'm going to explain later. So, I probably actually should have loaded Brave Dragon in already. It's not awake, so we're fine. Because I want to show something interesting with Diago Speedy. So obviously we activate it typically, like so. So then things will get interesting when we load it in. It's not awake. Okay. So when we load it in, as you can tell, the loading sound came from the Seiken itself and not from the book for obvious reasons. So let's... So there we get the transformation of Diago Speedy, like so. I'm going to keep this Seiken out because, obviously I'm going to quickly transform this, like so, because that's how it's supposed to essentially be. And then, technically, when you summon Diago Speedy, you can actually still access the activation button back here to get 3 additional sounds. And that's essentially it. So just format back like so. Whoops. I almost literally took this thing out of the hinge. I probably shouldn't have done that. Luckily you can still just cancel it and such. And at this point I'm actually going to just remove actually not remove Brave Dragon, but just show something interesting. So, obviously, you would have expected that because I do have 2 books slotted in, it would have activated the Wonder Rider sound. However, things get interesting when you load in a 3rd Wonder Ride book. The cover is really touchy. Yeah, so when you load in 3 books, it will technically disregard, it will overwrite Diago Speedy's, like, traditional, like, what the, you know, big Wonder Ride books typically do. It will overwrite, like, the, you know, just that being blank, but it will then like it'll just continue on what you have here. So obviously in this case we have Dragon Eagle Diago Speedy. And then who can I pull? Oh, I guess I can pull this. I'm not gonna pull it out, but so again, you can still access the button back here. And I want to point out that you can only get through, like, so essentially the only way this works is if Diago Speedy's the last one in the slot, because if you did try to do, so if you did try to do, like, Dragon, Sayu Dragon, it doesn't work. You have to improperly form Sayu Dragon to get. So I find that to be. I find just the way Diago Speedy works pretty fascinating. So we'll just do its finishers now, which it does indeed have finishers. And then yeah, so you can do all that traditional stuff, and just to show this off, it does have the ejection sound too. Just delayed, which is kind of bothersome, but I kind of get it. This is surprisingly actually, like, typically I would have actually complained about this not opening up well within this slot, but it's actually doing pretty well and such. So I'm not gonna try to do a lot with the other Seikens, so the Kyomu, I had to turn it off because it's dying. Because obviously this does the same thing. I cannot access the button. Oh shit. This does the same thing. Yeah, I don't know why this thing gets stuck. This thing, Diago Speedy makes this stuck. Let's do something funny. And before this thing dies again, gosh darn it. last but not least, obviously the Kuriyami. Diago Speedy is my favorite announcement out of this toy, and for anyone curious, because I feel like this should get pointed out, so despite in the Sword Driver this blanks out, or in the Blade Driver, it blanks out when you have one or, yeah, essentially this or another book. In this thing, however, it's interesting. Can I make this open by you? Yeah, so you actually get the transformation with this one, and it just makes it more hysterical. So just jumping into final thoughts. I absolutely love this Wonder Ride book. I know it's dumb, but this one honestly is my favorite Wonder Ride book, just because of the fact that this is, I want to say, the first time that a vehicle gimmick item is actually treated properly within the toy line and isn't treated differently, because our technically I think the first of these were the lock vehicles, to which those didn't have sounds. You can put them in the Sengoku driver, but it didn't do anything. Excuse me. Then Tritron was a car, so that was a gimmick itself. Ghost was pointless. Laser was the bike, so that doesn't count. Build phone, obviously that was a phone, but that incorporated a gimmick, but then, I don't know, that's not as different as, I think essentially it's I guess the series so it's Gaim, Geo through Saber that have at least integrated their the bikes within the gimmick. So obviously with Geo we had the Ride Striker, and then Zero and we had the Hidden Rise phone. However, with those two things, it's the the Ride Striker was a ride watch, but it wasn't it only had the one sound because that's how it was programmed. So yeah, technically Ride Striker was our first one that you can do something with it, but it wasn't technically the way it worked within the show. They just threw it. And then obviously the Hidden Rise phone, technically, because obviously that already had sounds in itself, so it technically just was oh, okay. But this thing, to actually be consistently acknowledged within the 3 seikens that can read Wonder Ride books, is amazing. Yeah, it doesn't do, by itself, it doesn't really do much, but I think just the fact it's just treated as a normal Wonder Ride book within, the seikens is amazing. And that's why I absolutely love it. It's yes, it's not, anything significant and such, but if you want to I guess I can say this is clearly skippable, but if you want the amazing announcement of Diago Speedy, then go for it. And I think it's supposed to be Diago Speedy, not I keep pronouncing it as Diego. It was Diago, but whatever. Yeah, so I guess to quickly summarize everything I literally just said, this is one of the weirdest but normalized Wonder Ride books within the line, and I absolutely recommend it. I think I got it for $10 off of Mandarake. It's pretty cheap. This is PowerRider, and I'll leave you people. Bye.